I got hired to narrate an audiobook. So ever since I was a little kid, I always thought that it would be kind of cool to get into acting. I wasn't really brought up in that type of environment where acting was really like a normal thing. So I really didn't see, like I didn't have too much exposure. My dad is in the media, but as far as doing stuff that's like scripted and like a super incredibly like high production value, like movie style stuff, I wasn't really sure where to start, but like it's always been in the back of my head since I was a little kid. And like I never was able to really figure out how to get started with it. And you know, every couple months, it's like this idea of like, hey, I live here, I should get into it. Like it would keep popping back into my head, and like I didn't know how to execute on it. You know, I had been on the different casting call websites like Backstage. Yeah, I think it's called Backstage. There was that one, there's a couple others, and I just didn't really know how to approach the situation. And a couple of months ago, I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Like, how do I get into this? Like, how do I break into this style of like, I guess, performance? Well, I thought about it, and I was like, well, I have access to radio equipment. Like, I have access to high-end audio recording studio equipment. So like, what's a way that I could leverage that and kind of like segue it into something like acting related, right? I've done a good amount of voiceover work for like commercials and for advertisements and stuff like that. I've done a lot of like social media commercials back when I was doing Minty Social Marketing, the social media marketing agency, running like ads for local businesses, generating leads. So like I'm somewhat familiar with how to do editing. I kind of have a little bit of knowledge in a bunch of different aspects of like advertising and marketing, right? Which is somewhat correlated to like production, right? Because like you need a good quality commercial if you want your product to sell, if you're drop shipping or something, right? So because of that, I sort of had an idea how to get started, but I wasn't really sure. So anyway, I looked up how to narrate an audiobook, and throughout my research, I discovered a few different websites that would allow me to jump into it and start auditioning. So there's this website called ACX, and I had no idea what it was, right? But I clicked on it, I started reading the different articles, different blogs, different reviews on Google, and I was like, screw it, let's do it, right? There's no better way to learn how to swim than to jump in the pool without the floaties, right? You're either gonna sink to the bottom and drown, or you're gonna swim. And so I was like, screw it. So I signed up for an account, like I linked all my important personal information to the account, tax ID, all that stuff. And I started auditioning for these different audiobooks where they would give you a script, and then you had to like do a perfect recording of how it would be at the end, like the final product, right? You basically had to turn in like a little snippet of the final product, and that was going to be their sample and show them if they like your style or not. So it was interesting because like in the beginning, when I started looking through the different titles, I was choosing things that I was interested in, right? Things that I was like, oh, I research this kind of stuff for fun. Like I should do this because it's what I'm into. So I was doing stuff like financial education. You know, one of them was on health and like sports medicine or something like that. Another one was how to turn your house into an Airbnb rental, right? So I was doing like businessy related topics, and like I was getting denied. And I mean, to be fair, I only auditioned. I only applied to four different titles that I thought were like interesting to me, that I thought I might do well in, until I decided, you know, maybe I should change the genre of what I'm doing. So I switched, and I found this one book. It was called Hurricane Blast by this guy, David Erickson. And I had clicked on the title several times before I decided to audition for it. And like I read through it and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, but like I don't know how into it I actually am. But then I was like, well, it's not really working doing the other genres. Maybe my vocal pitch and my talent, my ability, like maybe it's better applied to like a different genre, right? Maybe I can do things that are a little bit outside of what I want to do, because this doesn't seem to be working. So like maybe I have to change it up a little bit. So I decided to audition for it, and it was a trip because all this other stuff I had been auditioning for previously was like monotone, right? It was very like monotone, like da 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 da. Like there was no excitement. There was nothing like funny happening or entertaining. There was really no like entertainment value to it. It was just strictly educational, which personally, like, those are the types of books that I like to read. But I guess this was just a good fit. So like I started reading it, and like it was crazy because I started reading this script, this audition script, and I was like, I don't understand what's going on. It took me reading through the first paragraph a few times before I realized I was like, this is a phone call, right? So it was, I'd say the hardest part of doing the book was definitely not knowing which character was talking at which time. Like, it's not an actual script, so it doesn't break down like Sheila says this, Bobby says this, and like you don't really have time to like set up for that, right? So like I had to read through it and then think, okay, what's going on here? And then read through it again. Okay, there's 3 characters. Read through it again. Okay, this character might sound like this or that. You know, what's the context of this character? Like what should this person sound like? How old are they? How experienced are they in what they're talking about, right? And then, so I had to figure out like which gender are they? And then what's the connection to the person they're talking to? Should they sound nervous? Should they sound, you know, like anxious or excited or whatever? Like I had to fluctuate my voice, and I didn't necessarily do like a strong character voice differentiation between the different characters, but I tried to like change the tone of what I was saying a little bit to match a little bit better of like what I was supposed to be mimicking. So it was very, very interesting. It was a lot of fun. You know, the process altogether, it took way longer than I thought. The completed audiobook is only like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. But on my end, it took probably 4 to 5 hours of production value for each chapter, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing, right? I've never done anything like this before. First I had to record it, and then I had to edit it, and then I had to like, I was basically almost done with recording everything and editing everything before I finally found my groove and figured out like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to be editing. Like, this is the rhythm to which I'll get this done more effectively. So it was cool because in the beginning is like I was doing all of this stuff, reading and trying to act it out on, you know, on the audio, and like I was really trying to like do a good job. And it was interesting because like at different times throughout the book, like I would reference back to like what I had done previously, and like I would listen to a little snippet from here or from there or from there, and it would give me an idea of like, this is how you were doing it, so you have to keep that tone, you have to keep that vibe going, because now you're on the next chapter and the same guy is talking. Or I recorded this 3 chapters ago, now we're revisiting this character situation, so like I have to basically be consistent. And it was interesting because like when I would reference backwards like that, half the time I was thinking, dude, why did I record it like that? Like, that's terrible. Like, why did I do that? I have no idea. Like, that I should redo that. But then I left it, and then at other times when I referenced backwards, I was thinking, wow, this is great. Like, this is incredible. So I guess depending on like what mood I was in, I was kind of bouncing around on my opinion of my previous recordings. But you know, overall, I think I did a really good job. I think that I think I could definitely improve on my next book, and I'm just super, super excited to see what happens next, because you know, the audiobook thing was cool. It wasn't a thing I really ever saw myself doing, but again, like I mentioned in the beginning of this interview, I really, like, I've always really kind of wanted to get into acting, but like I just didn't know how. So this was like a cool first step that sort of like dipped my toes in the water a little bit, you know? I'm definitely gonna keep up with this ACX website, and I'm definitely gonna keep searching for different different like books, different titles that might catch my attention. But I think I kind of want to start seeing what's out there as far as like actual auditions go for, you know, maybe indie projects or some small projects, maybe a commercial or something. I'm still really not sure how the process works, but it was just so much fun doing this. And yeah, the book is called Hurricane Blast, and it's on Audible right now. It's, I think, $6 or $7 if you want to check it out. It's on Audible, it's on iTunes, and I believe they said it was on Amazon as well. So if you want to go check it out, that would be awesome. It's called Hurricane Blast. It's about a reporter and his friend who go around chasing a hurricane. They're like scientists and news reporters, and it's a cool little story. I thought it was awesome because unknowingly, the geographic location of the story actually takes place relatively close to where I reside. So like it mentions cities nearby, like the LA area, and I didn't realize that that was a part of it until I kind of like dove into the book a little bit more. I was like halfway done before I started like realizing like, all right, some of these cities are sounding familiar now. They're right down the street, which to me was cool because it kind of brought it to life a little bit more. I think after this, I'm definitely going to keep researching the different titles and see what I might want to do next. But I've also been looking at like actual acting studios. And I believe I can do like audits where I could go sit down and like kind of see how it goes and see how the class works. I've never taken a drama class. I've never taken an acting class, so it's very like out of my comfort zone. But it seems like a thing that might be it seems like a thing that might be catching my attention lately. So yeah, I just wanted to do like a little video, I guess, and just kind of explain what's going on. You know, I narrated an audiobook. It's pretty cool. I think I'm starting a new hobby. I don't know if it'll turn into a career or if it's just gonna stay a hobby. I'm not really sure what to expect out of this stuff I'm doing right now. But yeah, anyway, that's what's going on. So check out Hurricane Blast. It's on Audible for a very limited time. I'm going to, if this is on Instagram, I'm gonna put the link to the audiobook up in the description, up in my my bio, or what's it called? Yeah, they say link in bio. So I'm gonna do that, and then if this is Facebook, I guess I'll just post the link down at the bottom, like in the description area, and then also for YouTube, this will be in the description of the video as well. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.